Wow, the scrunchie just got real tight. Alright, so today it's Foundation Friday. This is where I try out a new foundation every single Friday on my channel. Last week we did a foundation update video, which is where I talked about a bunch of foundations that I've recently reviewed. Once I've tried them some more, my thoughts on them, to give you guys kind of an updated mini review on each product. So I'll leave that video in the eye and down below if you missed it. But let's get into this week's foundation. So we're going to be reviewing the Benefit Hello Happy Flawless Brightening Foundation. So this is a new version, basically, of their Hello Happy Soft Blur Foundation, which I do have a review on. This I haven't heard anything about. I feel like it wasn't a very popular launch, but it is a new release. I have the mini version here. They make some shades in the mini and then the rest in full size. I figured I would just get a mini because why not? It's half the price, and if I like it, then I can purchase the full size. But the full size of this retails for $30. It actually doesn't say online how many ounces you get in the full size. And I only have the mini here, which is 0.33 ounces. This one is 1 fluid ounce, so I would guess that their full size is also 1 fluid ounce, which is kind of like the standard amount. So if that's the case, it is way more expensive to get the mini size. So it comes in 12 shades, so not a great shade range at all. I have the lightest shade, which is 1. It says it's a brightening medium coverage liquid foundation with SPF 15 that feels lightweight, looks natural, and is virtually undetectable on the skin. Has hyaluronic acid in it, which I like, having dry skin. And it says that it adapts and brightens skin in any lighting. So I'm going to insert swatches of this foundation compared to this guy and some other foundations just so we can see how the shades compare. Alright, so a few swatches. Right, here's the Benefit Hello Happy Flawless Brightening Foundation in the shade 1. This is the lightest shade. Next over is the Benefit Hello Happy Soft Blur Foundation, also in the shade 1. So these are the same foundation, like both by Benefit, both the same kind of line or whatever. Both of them are the shade 1. As you can see, they're super different shades. So just be aware, if you knew your shade in this foundation, you might be a totally different shade in this foundation. Next over is the L'Oreal Fresh Wear in 410. And then here is Dermacol 208. This is a close shade match for me, just for reference. So if you enjoy Foundation Friday videos, you can give this a thumbs up. I appreciate it. It helps me out. Anytime you guys thumbs up a video, comment down below. If you're new here, I upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Let's get into the foundation. Okay, it's now 10:33 in the morning. I've been waiting for a friggin' food grocery delivery thing for like an hour, so I kept pushing off filming. And now it's 10:30. But anyways, let's put on some foundation, shall we? So I have it in the box here. So I got the mini one, the lightest shade. So I always do half my face with a sponge, half with a brush, just to see if there's any difference. I'm glad that the tiny one still has a pump. Sometimes on like minier versions of foundations, they have a different way to dispense it, and it's usually not a pump. Because of the small amount in here though, it will probably get difficult to get out at some point, so I'll probably have to take off the pump anyways. But let's start out with the brush on this side of my face. By the way, my ears are like black right now just from hair dye. Okay. So it says medium coverage. I think I remember the other one oxidizing a lot. I know it's definitely too dark. This one, the Hello Happy Soft Blur or whatever, that one looks too dark on my skin for sure. So this one's looking like it's a good shade match now, but we'll see if it darkens at all. So far looking nice. Looks like skin. I would say this one has a little bit of like a softness to it. I do like how skin-like it looks. True test is my forehead. Watch the delivery person come right now with half a face foundation on. Not bad. I am gonna smooth over right here with a sponge, but I think once I do that, hopefully it'll look good. It looks really soft. Medium coverage. I can see a lot of redness still coming through, so I'll probably try and build this up a little bit, but let's see how it does with a sponge. I'm actually getting about the same coverage with a sponge with this one. Actually, yeah, I think I got exactly the same coverage. I can still see stuff coming through. Does look like medium coverage. Finish looks about the same on both. I'm gonna add some to this side, but then also smooth it over onto the other side. So I'm kind of building it up a little bit right here. My forehead looks really good. I would say it has a satin matte finish. I don't mind that if it's like a skin-like matte where it doesn't look cakey, which is hard to do on dry skin, but I reviewed the Koki, this guy, a couple weeks ago, and check out that review if you missed it and you like matte foundations. This one I think you could totally use a brush or a sponge, whatever you prefer. I think it's going to look pretty much the same. I'm going to add a little bit just on my like freckles and scarring right here to see if this builds at all with the sponge. Whenever I build a foundation, I don't like to add more around like the center of my face because that's where it tends to crease. So if you're gonna be building foundation, I would just keep it in the places where you can. It does seem to build a little bit. It doesn't build to full coverage, but I would say I'm at high medium coverage now. Build this side. It looks very skin-like, which I love. Doesn't look heavy even building it up. So the shade looking at my chest and neck, I would say is maybe half a shade too dark. I think it totally works if it doesn't oxidize. If you're any more fair than I am, you'd have to use a mixer with this one since this is the lightest shade here. I feel like it's darkening, even like as I'm looking at it right now. So we'll see if it continues to darken once I have the rest of my makeup on and everything, what it looks like. But right now it is 10:41. Feels like I won't need to powder. Like it does feel like it kind of sets down, which I love. So far so good. I'm liking this one. I think for just like a medium coverage satin matte foundation, right now it's looking really pretty. It looks like skin. Yeah, nothing to really complain about. It looks very soft. So I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup and we'll be right back. Okay, so it is now 11:12. We're calling the check-in time 10:45 since that's when I finish up with my face makeup. Right now, I like it. It looks good. I'm a little bit wary just because this one looks beautiful at first, like when you first apply it, and then on my skin, it just looks bad as it like wears throughout the day. I have tried to use this one recently just because I wanted to be like reminded of what I thought of it before I did this video, and it just breaks down on my skin after about 4 or 5 hours. So I'm curious to see if this one holds up better because right now I'm really liking it, but it could go totally downhill. This one definitely has more coverage. The Cookie's more full coverage. This is medium coverage. Similar kind of finish though. It does look like a soft matte, almost blurring kind of finish. The Benefit right now looks a little bit more creasy around here than this one initially did. So I'm hoping it doesn't get worse throughout the day because I can already see it settling in to lines right here, which is typical for my skin. But if it's this early on, sometimes it can just get like way worse throughout the day. So we'll just have to see. I'm getting that like lip gloss thing, you know, where like connects and is gross. Okay, anyways, by the way, the shade has darkened. So looking at my chest, this one is a little bit dark. I feel like it's looking better on camera. You can see like a bit of a line here. So the makeup on the rest of my face that I used, I whipped out a few things that I haven't used in a while, just like went back in my drawer. So for blush, I used the Mineral Fusion. It's in the shade Pale. I love this blush. It's from, I got it at Whole Foods. I did a whole Whole Foods makeup video a while ago, but I still really like this blush. And then for bronzer, I used Cover FX Sunkissed. This used to be one of my favorites and I just haven't reached for it in a long time. By the way, I didn't have to powder my face at all. I could blend stuff on top of this foundation, which I really like. And then I just wanted a really subtle, natural looking kind of highlight. So I went with the Laura Mercier Candle Glow. This is their Sheer Perfecting Powder. You can use this all over your face too with like a big fluffy brush if you want to set but also have a little bit of a glow. But if you use it with like a smaller concentrated brush, the Sigma F03, then you can have it look a little bit more like a highlight too, but it just looks really subtle and like natural on the face. For eyeshadow, I dipped into the Sephora Pro. Wow, those are some intense fingerprints. I've used this only a couple times, so I'm still testing this out to see what I think of it. I did like the shades I used today. And then for lips, I did a little combo here. These are all drugstore. Used the Collab see-through liner, and then I put on Maybelline 530 Hot Sand, and then I put on Maybelline Vivid Hot Lacquer in Tease. This is one of my favorite nude topper things. So far I'm excited. We'll see, but let's go see what this looks like in natural lighting and we'll do a flash test. I just dropped my phone and it landed directly on my toe, and then I almost dropped my camera, so that was fun, but we survived. Okay, so looking at it in natural lighting, it looks beautiful. I do think it looks more satin, like it definitely looks a little bit more glowy. Still looks nice and soft and flattering. I like how it looks on my forehead. I'm gonna zoom in. So you can see some creasing starting around here. Not horrible, but hopefully it doesn't get worse throughout the day. I think this one, I could definitely use a pore filling primer. It doesn't look as blurring around my pores as the Kokie one. But overall, I do think it looks just nice and soft. Soft is the word of the day, folks. Let's do a flash test. If I could not drop my phone on my toe, that'd be great. So this one has SPF 15 in the foundation. So for having SPF, it doesn't look bad, like it doesn't look crazy. But considering it's a little bit dark on my face in real life, looking at the flash photo, it looks maybe half a shade light. So I would say it has a little bit of bounce back considering the shade situation, but it doesn't look bad at all. Like I think it's totally wearable in flash. So that's where we're at right now. I'll see you guys in a few hours back in natural lighting. Okay, so it is now 3:46, so it's been on for 5 hours. Haven't looked at my face at all. I've just been running around, mainly cleaning this room. It is a disaster. Okay, so it does look like it's oxidized, so I think it's about a shade too dark. It doesn't look as bad on camera, but in real life I think it is a little bit too dark. Looking at the foundation, I do think it's getting dewier looking. Like my pores are starting to get a little bit glowy And then my forehead definitely looks glowier than before, which I don't mind. It's looking a little bit more makeup-y overall. Like, it seems to be breaking down a bit down here, and then my pores just don't look as good. My pores definitely look pretty large. And then you can see creasing, and it looks like my upper lip has almost like darkened more than the rest of my face, which I have had happen sometimes, or sometimes it can just look like that because your concealer hasn't oxidized. By the way, my concealer today looks horrendous because I tried using a loose powder to set it, which never goes well. I keep trying, it still looks horrible. It looks amazing on other people, but yeah, my concealer we can ignore. It does look a bit more makeup-y, like I don't love how it's looking now. My forehead still looks pretty good. Overall, I don't mind how it's looking right now, but for being only 5 hours in, I would hope that it would look a little bit better. Don't hate it, don't love it, but we'll see how it does by the end of the night. Okay, so it is now past 9 o'clock. Oh, 9:30, wow. So it's been on for almost 11 hours at this point. 9:30, we are getting crazy lightning and thunder for the last like hour and a half. It's so weird. It got dark so much earlier today than I feel like it has been getting. I don't know if it's just because of the storm or what, but I'm not ready for the winter darkness, okay? So I was in this room basically all day cleaning. I was just looking at the mirror and natural lighting like on my desk. I was like playing around with lipsticks and stuff, and it looked better, I felt like, than when I saw it in the last check-in. I don't know if it was just like the different lighting or what, but it didn't look bad, and that's like how I feel about it now. I definitely look kind of oily in a couple spots. Around my nose has definitely looked better. Like my pores look very emphasized and pretty large, but if I just put on a pore filling primer, that could help. The creasing hasn't gotten like that much worse throughout the day. It does seem to be, yeah, like rubbing off on my chin and kind of breaking down. My forehead looks pretty good. It just looks like, you know, pretty dewy. I don't know, it doesn't look as bad as the soft blur one does on my skin throughout the day. Like this one does hold up better on me. It's still not as good as the Kokie, so I would just say get the Kokie. It's cheaper and lasts better if you want that same kind of finish. I think I just need to find a primer and like set certain parts of my face. I probably wouldn't set my forehead with this, but definitely would put on a pore filling primer and then maybe use my, whoa, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's thunder. Use some kind of blurring powder on my nose, and then I would probably like set my whole face with setting spray. So I will probably have to do a few things to this one, but I like it. I don't feel like I'm gonna like go through this whole size and then repurchase the full version. That's how I feel right now. Like I don't absolutely love it, but I think it's a decent foundation. This jacket, by the way, I always get questions about it when I wear it. It's from Amazon. I'll link it down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Foundation Friday. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.